In today's video, we're going to try something just a little bit different for our channel, and we're going to unbox and hopefully build together the new E-flite 4-site 3D flat foamy biplane. This is brand new. I have zero information. This will be kind of a discovery moment for me on camera with you guys, but I've built enough of these airplanes that we should be able to piece this together. My video assistant today is this very awesome 3D printed gold dragon that I made on our awesome A1 up there. Love our 3D printer and all that good stuff. Linked in the description box below. I've been so addicted to it. It just like runs non-stop almost. So anyway, the reason I've got the dragon for the assistant, a lot of you guys probably are always curious, where's Abby? If she's not on camera or in the video with me. And the last time it was because she was sick, but this time today, it's just because she is working on taxes for tax season. The last time I did this, it was for a flight test plane. We did a build video together, and you guys seemed to enjoy it, at least most of you in the comments. It got a fair amount of views, so I thought if I could, when possible, we would try to do build videos. And since this is a new airplane for E-flite, it's not just another timber or something, I thought I would take the time to put it together with you. And I think a lot of times when I'm building airplanes, you know, when I fly planes, a lot of times I'm pretty quiet, which a lot of you probably wouldn't believe because I talk a lot on camera. But when I'm just flying and there's no camera on, I'm very quiet. But when I'm building planes, I tend to have a lot of reactions. Oh, it's cool how they did that, or, you know, and I try to reference them in our flight videos, but sometimes it's hard, and often because we have two very young kids, I don't really stand a chance to record. You know, I build my planes on the dining room table, and the kids are running and playing, and they tend to leave me alone, but it's loud and cartoons are playing, and you know, difficult to turn a camera on and document my build or even take pictures. It's very hard. So since Abby's distracted with working on tax stuff, I thought we could work on this together. Now there you go, white box. If I'd have known that, I would have started with just the white box and not the shipping box. A lot of times we get early samples of things, and in this case, that's what is true here. And when that happens, we don't have any box art on our things. The last helicopter we got, they turned an old Blade 230S box inside out just to get it to us. So anyway, clearly I have not opened this yet. I haven't seen it yet. I was anticipating it to be something like the Erratics, so we will see. Yes, it very much looks like an Erratics. This is a biplane flat foam 3D airplane, which is very cool because I personally love the Erratics. I thought the price point was good. It performed really well. Sure, there are some things that could perform a little better for $5 cheaper, but not in a bind and fly form. Anyway, there you go. We're gonna get everything out of the box, talk and hang out for a little bit, and we'll put it together. I'll put it together on camera with you guys. I don't know. Could be a short video. I don't anticipate it to be hours long, but we will see. Yeah, and people ask me to do this all the time. It's just hard. We have a 2-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. And it's hard to get stuff done through the day while they're with us all the time. Someone recently asked me on a nice airplane, they said, Nate, if that was a ready to fly, I'd buy it, but it's a bind and fly and I just don't know how to do that. And it made me feel awful. I really wish I could take the individual time to help everyone that has questions like that. And I do my best, I really do. But a video like this is a really good way for me to be able to help someone out like that. I know there's other people that do similar videos, but we're all different, right? And so let's talk about that. A lot of people get discouraged. They want to make a YouTube channel, but they're discouraged. They say, well, my videos wouldn't be as good as yours, Nate, or other people that make videos. I don't know what I would bring to the table. And you're already doing it, so why would I? Well, you could say that about any other YouTuber that's making videos. I would say there could be thousands of people making YouTube videos about this airplane, and every single person would have some level of value to add and uniqueness. There we go. A lot of times when I get a new airplane, I don't get instructions with it. So sometimes I get like an email follow-up that has digital instructions, but it's nice when I actually get the paper version too. There's one of our main wings. That's good looking. It looks just like the erratics deal. I like that we have plastic like wing spars. There's reinforcement even on our control surface, our movable flap control surfaces. There's reinforcing points everywhere. You can see them really well with these ovals here. That looks nice. Let's just set it back here for now. Even though I got a new workbench, I still don't have a lot of workspace. Most people have better workspaces than I do. Although I got a lot of foam back there. There we go. Those are our vertical struts, I suppose. They're going to be the wing struts in between the lower and upper wing, so that's cool. Looks like they're going to click into place, but I could be wrong. A lot of times I just build these without instructions. I've gotten to the point where I can handle that pretty well now. Here's our other wing. I'll adjust the camera angle some too after I get everything out. It looks really nice. While I'm unboxing this, you know, don't get ever discouraged if you want to start your own YouTube channel. Literally anybody can do this. You just got to take the time to actually do it. Here's our push rods or our links prop. Looks like there's a rubber band in there, so this is going to be one just like the erratics that is held on with a rubber band, and that's not a bad thing. I would have thought it would be a bad thing, but mine, knock on wood, has never fallen off. There's our rear horizontal stabilizer. Looks good. I like the color they went with on this, just kind of opposite of the erratics. There we go. There's all the good stuff, the guts and the glory. The servos are installed. The receiver is installed, ESC motor. It is all there. So I would anticipate not too hard of an assembly. Some people get mad when I call it a build. That would be an assembly. So let's see, I think that's everything. That was a very quick, easy unboxing. So let's build this thing. I think my best sized Phillips might be missing, and I hate to blame Abby when she's not here, but she did just take my zip tie cutters and they are not back yet, so probably Abby. Control horn facing down on the horizontal stabilizer. We have our fuselage, which looks amazing, and we slide that in from the right side. Once it's in place, there's actually a little channel for that to slide into, and it's very loose, but we need 2 self-tapping Phillips screws. I think I see them right there. I hope I got everything, because those are not self-tapping. They have a flat head on them, and you know, sometimes that happens on these little pre-releases, and those are the only 2 screws in the entire kit, so I may be looking at whatever I have in my own spare parts collection if it requires other screws. Sometimes I wish I would do these videos live, because I like, when I'm doing stuff like this, I like when Abby's hanging out with me or the kids are there and I can kind of talk with people. I also really thoroughly enjoy listening to music while I build my planes. You know, sometimes if it's a morning and I've got my coffee, I'll listen to a little K-Love, or, oh, I don't know, I like some bluegrass. Every now and then I like to listen to some rock and roll. But when I'm doing video like this, obviously I can't, because of copyright issues and license things for YouTube copyright. You don't want your channel to get shut down because you used a song you like. I get it. I've done it for 10 years now. So those are nice and tight. It tells us to put our clevis in the outer hole. There are only 2 holes on there, so outer hole, we click it in place, and then the rubber little fuel line band scoots down, not exactly snug up against the end, but you want to push it toward the end, just to give it a little bit more pressure to pinch in place. Alright, this says to take the bottom wing. Bottom wing is the one that has 3 of these clips, because those 3 clips are going to line up with the 3 clips on the fuselage. It should just sit right in place, and I'm guessing we're going to click those in. This is a new system. They did not do this on the erratics. Click. I heard 1 click. Let's look, maybe they all clicked at the same time. That looks pretty good to me. All those sit lined up really well, nice and flush. That was easy. Gosh. Okay, we have 3 sets of push rods with clevises on there. 4 of them are long, 2 are like medium, and then 2 are really short. The 2 shortest ones are the ones we use for this step. We're just going to take our Z-bend. We push the Z-bend end of our push rod into the servo by the fuselage, the servo arm, into the 5th hole from the center, or 1 from the outer. And then this guy is going to go in the outer hole on the clevis and the servo horn here. Click into place, push the rubber band right up to it. That side's installed. Do the same on the other side. That is installed and looking good. Alright, these are our struts next. They're going to just click in to this part of the wing. I just want to make sure I get it right. There is a sticker on mine that says this end up. A little white rectangular sticker there. I would think the little press button, the clicker, would go on the outside for ease of access, but it could go on the inside. Nah, okay, they're the same. They're mirrored, so it doesn't matter. One will be on the inside when you install it. The other will be on the outside. That, I hope you guys can see some of this. Come on, camera, focus on that. That is a wild drawing in the book. Those are insane looking. It's actually going together really easily, but that little picture in the instructions is just wild. Absolutely wild. We're just pushing our Z-bend through the front little hole here, down by our strut. I think we can go ahead and click this into place. Or at least a dry fit before they're clicked. That's fair. I would do a dry fit. Now our clevis has a hole up here at the top of the wing. That's going to click into, and that's going to give this some really good structural integrity. Really, honestly, it doesn't say it in the instructions, but I'm going to click that in place because that's putting tension on these push rods that doesn't need to be there. So for me, clicked in place. Now when you get these little clevises installed, that's a lot better. Takes the tension off of that. Well, that one snapped. This one is pulling really hard. Oh yeah, those are those are not lining up well at all. Alright, Z-bend of the wire gets inserted carefully into a top hole at the front of the airplane, right under the wing, near the center fuselage. It bends over, and then there's a little hole at the bottom of the wing strut. And the tab from your... I am backing down this clevis because if I don't, it pulls too much pressure on this side that I installed and yanks it off of there. So I don't know, whoever had this one installed on mine is just a little short. It puts the wrong pressure on this wing over here, so I'm bending up the wing some. I know you guys can't hardly see that to get the clevis installed, but that's a little challenging. These push rods to give support to the wing, they go angled like this. They're a little tight on space, and if you pull tension the wrong way, that will come loose. And that will line up to this little tab for the clevis to go into. But again, I've got to back that out. I don't know who did these. A lot of these that I get are pre-flown. It's going to put too much tension on that clevis and it will break. Locking it in, pushing my rubber band or a little fuel line up to the end of it. That's a great idea, but man, if you just pull too hard on one side, it's gonna do some damage, so you just gotta be careful with those. I'm wondering how it's gonna hold up in flight, you know, tons of G-forces on the plane. Click in place. Okay, that's all four. You know, it gives you this X pattern, right, from your top and bottom wing. Camera battery died. Of the whole thing, though, that's the only challenging or remotely difficult part. You don't want to insert one Z-bend and be pulling up to get the clevis through the little tab hole, and then when you're installing the other side, if you pull too hard, it'll yank that. You know, you're just talking about a little plastic peg here. I don't know if you can see that. My lighting is not great today, but there's a little plastic tab from this side of the clevis arm to the other, and that's what's holding that entire bit of tension in place. So we'll see how it holds up. The last ones are our two like medium length push rods. They're calling these interconnect links, but they're push rods. This just on the bottom of the aileron, there's one tab, one hole in the tab, and we're going to install the Z-bend in there, and then our clevis comes down, and these do interlink the top wing and bottom wing with this. Slide down the little rubber band, essentially, and we'll do the same to the other side. This is easy. Considering this is a foam flat biplane, the process is not hard at all. The hardest part being those little linkages that are giving your wings support. But that's about it. We're almost there. We just need to put our landing gear on. So we're gonna hang the plane over the edge of the table. Vertical stabilizer hangs off the edge. Here's our landing gear. I don't believe it matters which side. Yeah, I guess it does. And there's little squares at the front. I'm making a crisscross pattern, and that's already clicked into place. That's awesome. These guys serve just barely enough function. They worked well for the erratics, but you know, just well enough to get it off the ground and land quickly. and just like that, we have the erratic biplane. They call it the foresight. I've just, yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. Foresight. I like that. That's really cool. I guess we got to do the prop, but for safety's sake, we'll make sure it's bound first. My NX8 here, I've got an NX6, an NX8, and then I also have an NX7E, and I 3D printed this really cool sunshade. Slides on the front of your transmitter, and now you've got this sunshade protector keeping your screen out of the sun. Also, here's an added bonus: if it's sitting up, which it's awesome that it can still sit up, if your transmitter gets knocked forward, even fairly hard, it catches it so it doesn't fall down on the sticks. What a cool added bonus that is. Pretty hard. So that will be in the description box if you want to check that out. I need to get a battery. I assume this is a 3S. I think this is a dead smart battery. Let's see if it comes to life. Luckily I have one of these from the helicopters that I fly, but the recommended battery is a 3S 850 milliamp IC2 plug, and should be pretty simple. We're going to use the bind button. I tend to not go with safe, so I'm going to disable safe, but the process is in your instructions. First thing I do is I press my scroll wheel, I turn my transmitter on, that gets our menu options opened. I go to model select and then add new model. I'm on the create screen, and then just for my sake I'll go ahead and put a name in. Okay, named it Foresight. We're going to go back again, and now we're on our main menu. It's very simple. You're just creating a new model, which should be pretty much blank, and then we go into this menu screen after we name it, and actually we turn our transmitter back off is, I think, the best way to do this. So for me, with no safe, plug in my battery. That's a good sign. Receiver's over here. There's a bind button on it. I press it. Orange flashing light on it. So now I release the button. Almost unplugged it. And I hold the bind button while I power on. As soon as I get power, I let go of the power button, but I hold the bind button until it starts talking and I see it come to life. That's letting me know I've got a low battery. But we're bound, and we're bound out of safe. Let's see if I have any Velcro. I do, so I can kind of put my battery here. And I just give everything a little test. I don't have safe on this. I'm not sure if Abby will fly it. She flies the erratics. I'll enable safe if she wants to, but everything looks good, and we'll do a quick little throttle test. Looks right. So before we install the prop, we unplug the power. And I turn my transmitter off. This is fairly simple. I don't know if you guys can see this, I hope so. There, on your motor are two little screws that stick out. Two little bolts. They just look like screws. All you're going to do, put your prop with the numbers on the prop facing out. You've got numbers really small, hard to read, but they're on there. They face away from the plane and kind of opposite of those bolts. And you just put the rubber band on one side and then stretch and pull. You can use pliers, it might help a little bit, but you don't want to pinch too hard. You could break the rubber band. Just kind of stretch it over to the other side. Get it over that bolt. And as long as it's on there, on both sides, you're solid on the prop. So that's installed. That plane is ready to fly. Now, the only thing it needs, because it softens stuff up in my opinion on a plane like this, I want to show you guys how to put Expo in here, if I can. We're going to power on. Press our menu, clicky wheel. Scroll down to dual rates and Expo. For me, on ailerons, I like to put about 30% in. You can do more, you can do less, but this will get you steadier control on that center stick, okay? Expo, people always ask what it is, what it does. If you don't use Expo and you're flying standard, when you move this aileron stick 20%, that control surface also moves relative, okay? It's a 1-to-1 ratio. It'll move 20% as well. When you move that stick over to 100%, that aileron control surface moves 100%. And if you move it 5%, it moves 5%. But when you're using Expo, if I move that stick 20%, the control surface is going to move probably something like 5%. It deadens the center of your stick to give you steadier controls. You kind of look like you know what you're doing more when you fly with Expo. It helps you with landings and low passes when you don't want to make a jerky movement and, you know, grab the ground. And higher up in the air, it doesn't matter quite as much. Let's go with elevator next. I tend to do very close to, because elevator is really sensitive on something like this. I'll do 25%. And then for my rudder, Expo, about 20%. I don't use it as much. And honestly, on a plane like this, you could probably crank those Expo numbers up even higher. But you don't have to use Expo, exponential, Expo for short. But I like to because it softens up those movements. I'm extremely excited to fly this plane. I don't know how many build videos I'll do on the channel. I guess it depends if you guys enjoy them or not. I don't claim this is by far from the best video we've ever made, and it's certainly not the best video on YouTube, just in general for any build thing. But it's me with a tripod while Abby's working on tax stuff, and I thought, you know what, I want to build it anyway. I might as well bring you guys along since it is a new airplane from E-flite. They're calling it the Foresight. I love their erratics. It's one of my favorite different kind of planes to fly. In fact, I had to double check. We have two. Abby has her own and I've got my own. We like it that much. This is a biplane version of that. It's recommended to fly on the 3S 850 milliamp. It looks like it's made just as good, if not better, than the erratics. It's been a while since I've assembled one of those erratics planes, but I remember it being extremely easy. I don't, however, remember those clicking in place mechanisms. I like that a lot, and if E-flite is listening or people are curious, the only thing that I'm hesitant about with this are those links that are going X shape, X pattern, from the top of the fuselage down to the bottom and top of the wing struts. That's a great idea. I think you need that, but the clevis little pin tab questionably could give out while flying. I don't know. I've never had one of those give out on like a control surface while flying or anything, but one of mine did come weak. It looked like it had been yanked hard out of place or something. So we'll see how that holds up in the maiden flight, and likely by the time you guys are seeing this, I will have actually flown this on the channel. So we probably will already know. Binding these things to your radio is insanely easy, and I'm doing a shameless self-plug here on my self-invented, self-created, self-printed on these awesome printers. They'll be linked in the description box below too. So if you buy one of these, it's coming straight out of our house here in the United States. And actually we do ship worldwide too, so that's kind of cool. That's linked. Now, someone bought one of these for their IX-14, and I'm so grateful for you, but if you look at our store, I have one 5-star review and one 3-star review. And the guy that left the 3-star review is upset because it's on the IX-14. It clearly states it only works on the NX6 and NX8 because they make all these transmitters in different shapes and sizes. I own the NX7E, and it barely works. It works really well if you take off your lanyard clip, actually, but only if you take off your lanyard clip. So if you're like me and you don't fly with a lanyard, then it does work on the NX7E. So if you have one of these transmitters, it'll work on that too. And it may work on the NX10, but I don't know because I don't own one to check. This plane, these batteries, the radio that I'm flying on, or the variety, I have an 8, a 6, and a 7. They'll all be linked in the description box below, and use those links. Theoretically, it's supposed to help our channel. It supports our channel and our family at no extra cost to you. And we're so grateful to everyone that helps us out. Guys, when you fly something like this, I encourage you to fly safely. It's kind of a different thing. It can hover and do some really unique things. And when you're experimenting and pushing your own limits and ability, I'm going to strongly encourage you to fly with the AMA. That's the Academy of Model Aeronautics. Insurance for those of us that fly RC planes. The main thing, though, isn't just insurance. It's the mindset. When you are flying with insurance and you kind of know that there are some basic rules and guidelines that you should fly by, it keeps you safe, keeps anyone watching safe, and it keeps our hobby safe from the FAA overstepping their boundaries to regulating flying foam, which is what they're trying to do. So I want to strongly encourage you to fly with AMA. They'll be linked in the description box below too. And I'd like to say a massive thanks to God for blessing me with the time to jump in front of the camera to share this build experience with you guys, which is a little bit unique to the channel, but I'm hoping you appreciate at least, maybe not the best camera angles, but to hear my perspective on building this new plane by E-flite. So if you like it, please let me know in the comments below, but I'm grateful to God for the time to jump in front of the camera and share this moment with you. Last but certainly not least, I want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your insanely awesome support. If you're interested in all this stuff, it'll be linked in the description box below. And if you like seeing flat foam planes fly, we've got a ton of erratics videos on our channel. One of those will be popping up right about now. And if not that plane, this flying will be popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there. Bye.